Hi there, my name is Michelle LeRae. I am the founder of the Spirit Guided Path and Death Doulas of Manitoba. And today I want to talk a little bit about how to cope with and how to navigate the situation in which your loved one has died, but they did not want a service or a celebration of life. And this is becoming more of a trend than before, where people are just choosing to say that they do not want anything after they have died. And sometimes this is motivated by finances because sometimes the services can be quite pricey, or because maybe they didn't believe in anything and they just don't want anyone to gather in this sense. There could be any number of reasons why people have decided they don't want a service, they don't want a gathering. Sometimes it's even just because it makes their death real. And so approaching that time, they just don't want to think about it. It's too much. And that's very understandable. However, after the fact, it can be very difficult for loved ones to begin their, early grieving without anything that kind of commemorates, memorializes the fact that this person has gone from being present in our lives to no longer being physically present here. And so what do we do with this? And so, if you have a loved one who is approaching this time and they have said, I don't want anything, you can maybe inquire as to why that might be and remind them that it really, isn't just about having that service, to say goodbye to them, but it's also to connect with others who have found that this person has a meaningful role in their lives. And I find as a funeral celebrant, I see this all the time at services where people come in that you never knew about, who have amazing stories about your loved one that you never would have known otherwise. You never would have gotten to see those other sides of your loved one without this ability to have everyone kind of gathered in one place to talk about them, to connect over this situation that's happened. So I highly encourage people to reconsider if they have stated that they do not want a service, because not only does it kind of stunt or prevent the beginning part of the grieving process, it can, make people feel a little bit more isolated in their grief. We saw this a lot a few years ago where services weren't able to be well attended. And this really affected the way that people have grieved their loved ones because they weren't able to have everyone come in and gather and connect over what has happened, what took place, and to speak about and honor the life that this person had. And so if you're in a position where this has already taken place and they have died and you were not able to hold a service or plan anything for them, then what do you do with that? And so my encouragement is to host something for yourself and for maybe the very close loved ones where, again, um, you know, not dishonoring what they have asked you. Maybe you're not holding a public service or anything like that, but even just having a gathering where you know, talk about them, have the stories, have their favorite food or drink, and do something that honors their life, the role they had in your life, what they've taught you, and trying to find a way between obviously respecting their wishes, but also respecting the fact that we often, as social creatures, need something that helps us to start that process of working towards integrating the knowledge in within ourselves that they're no longer physically present. And when I talk about being physically present, that might sound strange to you. Being a death doula, but also a medium, I strongly believe that we continue on in spirit. And so death to me is a transition. It, just like birth is. Birth is coming into this world, death is leaving this world, but we're all still connected. And so what we're really getting used to, in my opinion, is not so much, them not being in our lives at all, just that they are now in a different place. It's like they've moved to a different address, but one that you can't physically visit. But you definitely visit them at night when you're sleeping, and sometimes you get a sense of them being around you, but that's for another video. So you want to honor what they have, stated. They do not want a service, and that's perfectly acceptable if that's what they truly wanted. But you might find that you need something. And so you can even do something even all on your own. You can light a candle, have a little bit of a ritual, just talking to them, thanking them for the role they've had in your life, thanking them for what they've taught you or what they brought to your life. And even just saying the things that you hope that they got out of, having you in their life, and letting them know that you miss them and that you hope that they're doing well wherever they are. And, if you're so inclined, you can even ask them for signs. And sometimes people ask, well, how do I know that they're sending me a sign? Well, if you're not sure, you can ask them for a specific sign, pick a number, not one that you always see, but something that maybe means something to you or was part of their birthday or something else. Or you could pick an animal, you can pick anything really, a shape, something that might help you to be triggered to remember them or to think of them, a song, a lyric, a word, whatever it is, and just put that out there with intention. If you can, this is what I'd like to see. And then leaving it alone and seeing if this somehow makes its way into your life a little bit more. That's one way you can, connect with them a little bit. But if you're kind of stuck on the fact that maybe no service was able to be had, maybe several years ago this happened and you're still feeling like it should have happened, it's never too late. It is never too late to remember someone. It's never too late to honor them in the way that feels right to you. You want to honor them based on the personality they had and the life they lived, but also gather with others who also care deeply about them. And so if you haven't been able to do this yet, and even if they maybe didn't say they didn't want something, but you weren't able to in the past for any number of reasons, it's never too late. It won't feel the same as obviously a funeral that takes place weeks after, but it will feel meaningful. It will have purpose. It will help you connect and communicate with others who are also grieving. Even if the grief isn't spoken about on a daily basis, it's still present within us. And so you are encouraged to definitely explore that and to think about finding a way to create meaning, to create, a gathering or to connect with others in a way that works for you, that might help you to work through and with your grief. And if you have had a loved one who said specifically no services whatsoever, well, then connect with them on your own. Find a way to, work with what you can. Maybe that's just having 4 or 5 of their closest friends or family over for discussion, talking about, how whatever happened. Um, talking about favorite memories, maybe creating some sort of project that, their favorite recipes or the things that they love the most. If they loved movies, watching their favorite movie, that can be very meaningful. It doesn't have to be big and difficult. It can be very simple and meaningful, and this can really help you to feel some movement in maybe the heavy feeling of grief that you might be enduring. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions about any of the things that I've been talking about or are interested in learning more about anything before, during, and after death, please feel free to email me or to check out one of my websites, and I'll be happy to make a video that might be helpful to you. Thank you.